It says we're live. Ah,
All
thank
right.
goodness. I was worried for a second. I was holding my breath. Am I alive? Oh,
Yeah, can I
live,
move
not
now?
alive. Yeah. No, you got to stay exactly like that the entire time.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
the whole time.
All right. Well, welcome everyone watching on the live stream and anyone watching afterwards. Welcome to you as well. We're going to be starting up the show in just a minute here. We've got a special guest with us. I think you figured that out already if you're watching the video. Kind of no surprises there involved, but all right. Let me just get myself squared away here. And Craig, are you set on recording however you're recording it? Okay.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
All righty.
Oh, wait. I just thought about something. I got sound effects, but
they're routed through the conduit to the
I don't have the intro music on there.
Well, we'll just not have it then.
No,
I
can
the
do it afterwards.
solution.
I can do it afterwards. That's not a problem.
Okay. It'd be awkward pause for me if I announce the show and then wait for the donut there to say the name of the show. So
Yeah,
we'll
sorry
work
about
around
that.
that. We'll
I set up all the other sound effects except for that one. All right.
Okie dokie.
Sorry about that.
No worries. All right. If you want me to give you do you want to give me a count in on it?
All right. So ready? 3, 2, 1.
This is The Topic is Trek, episode 184 for Friday, August 1st, 2025. Coming up in this episode, the walking unalive creatures, announcements from San Diego, the convention, not Carmen San Diego, and we trip out over the USS Adventure. All that and more. Oh my goodness, somebody's really bouncing around with their microphones there. Right now on The Topic is Trek. Pikes in space. Really need an echo for that one. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another thrill-packed edition of The Topic is Trek. I am Clinton, one of your co-hosts here on the show. And in order to be a co-host, I have to have other hosts with me. So first of all, beaming in to join me from parts unknown, although they look an awful lot like an office or a home office type of thing, is Mr. Craig Stepp.
Hey there. Hey, teachers, leave those kids alone.
That's your hip new catchphrase, huh?
That's right.
Well, coming back up to school time, it'll be good for a while. So,
Starfleet Academy.
Oh, okay. All right. So you want to hold off on the hip new catchphrase until sometime in early 2026, I see. Yeah. All right.
They have Pink Floyd in the 32nd century.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
If they've got Wham, they've got. But anyway,
classical music.
And also beaming in to join us is a special guest because Mr. Chuck Tomasi is away on an away mission. So beaming in to join us is Crazy Joe Fiore from Crazy Joe's Concession Stand.
Hey, kindness is the new punk rock.
Ooh, that's a crossover hip new catchphrase.
Yes,
Excellent. So I was watching somebody's a person who'd never seen any Superman movies, who never seen any superhero movies, and they went and they saw Superman, and then people said, "Oh, you got to go see the Snyder Man of Steel thing." And so we saw that, and he went, "I like them both. They're different things. You can like more than one thing, you know."
Yeah.
And I think that's the way it should be, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I like the Man of Steel for different reasons, and but I really love the new Superman movie for sure because of the messages that it showed.
I personally did not like the Man of Steel, but I do like multiple versions of Superman. I'm watching Lois and Clark right now, and the Christopher Reeve, and the show that was just on the CW, Superman and Lois. There's lots of visions out there. You don't have to be a slave to one.
But I have to remind you, don't watch other things while you're doing the show here, Joe. You said you watch.
Yeah.
Don't do that. All right.
Focus.
I wanted to mention really quickly, if you get a chance, that on Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we'll be doing an interview with some of the creatives behind this year's Dragon Con Shadowcast of Subspace Rhapsody. It's kind of a follow-up to the interview we did last year. And so we'll talk about not only what's going to be changed for this year, but how things went last year and, what was the reaction from the guests who were there. If you're watching the video, these are some photos I took at the performance last year. So Anson Mount and Christina Chung and Ethan Peck were in attendance last year. Will there be somebody there this year? Who knows? You should go and see and find out. Fun time no matter what you do. All right.
Yeah.
So all that said, it's time to begin our first main mission. Do we have an appropriate sound effect to start off with? That is pretty darn appropriate.
I think we got to get out and push.
Just remember, spacesuit when you do that.
Yeah.
All right. Craig, why don't you give us the lowdown on what we're going to be talking about first?
Okay, we're talking about Strange New Worlds, Season 3, Episode 3, Shuttle to Confori, written by Anatra, Johnson and Bill Wilkoff, directed by Dan Liu. And the synopsis is, in order to cure Captain Patel, Pike and Mbenga must travel to the planet inside restricted space when Klingons arrive. That's right, there's a period there. Inside the restricted space. When Klingons arrive in Mbenga, past reservices and deadly consequences ensue.
Yes, indeed. All right. So we've got a couple of things going on here. Again, kind of an A story, B story type of thing. Which would you rather handle first? We can either talk about the mission or what's up with Batel and what happens on the ship.
Let's go with the B story first, because that was actually the precipice for the A story. Okay,
fair enough. So we find out that things weren't really going as well as we thought they were going to be with the recovery of Captain Batel. Pike comes in and finds her collapsed on the floor. And it turns out that there are reactions and the Gorn is kind of invading her body, if you will, at this stage of the game. And there's really not much hope in saving her, but Spock has come up with one possible solution, is to get this chimera plant that only is, well, I don't know, it's kind of weird because they go to a research facility to get it, but it must be native to, is it native to that Confori or is it native to someplace else? I can't remember if they actually.
I don't remember that either, but I had the impression that it was native to that planet.
Could be. So while originally it was going to be Spock and Mbenga going down, Pike says, if anyone's going on this mission and it's unauthorized and so forth, I'm going to be the one to go.
Yeah.
To which Batel says, yeah, told you that's how it's going to go down. So they leave to go on the mission, which we will talk about. And when we go back to the Enterprise to see how Batel is doing, she is really having a rough time with this. She is beside herself in pain at this point from whatever is happening to her body. And Spock decides he's going to help out. And he decides to do a mind meld, which we've seen before. We've seen situations where the Spock character has done mind melds to help ease somebody's pain, to calm them down, that type of thing. So that was absolutely something that we've seen before. So that wasn't a surprise. What was a surprise is that it ends like Chekhov should have been doing the scene, because lots of screaming happening at this point. Because this vision that they both have of like a mouth with giant teeth and lots of screaming and yelling, and is that a Gorn? What is that thing what's going on there? And Chapel has to do a classic. It's like, okay, we I don't know if we've had this before in Strange New Worlds, but I did an entire video. Go check it on YouTube called Slap Happy, because TOS used to love the slap, and
Yeah.
so Chapel, gives a good one to Spock to break the mind meld. Of course, that's after Spock had punched the yet as named person in sick. Still doesn't have a name. I don't believe that
I
character's
think
name yet.
I think I read his name somewhere
Okay.
online, but I haven't heard anyone actually speak it on the show.
Right. So I don't know whether that's the actual name or, if somebody's deciding, well, if they're not going to name him, I'll name him, which, okay, fair enough.
Hey, by the way, when you were talking about slapping, I keep thinking of Kirk slapping himself.
Well, that's in my slap happy one there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it definitely becomes a case of she's going to need this plant. And we find out in the main part of this mission, the Ace story, that there are some consequences to this plant, but she definitely has decided that she wants this, and she's going to have this. And at the end of the episode, it's unclear to me whether or not she's actually started the treatments or not yet, because Mbenga has the serum synthesized. Well, Spock has, I guess, synthesized it, and he has the vial of it, but I don't know whether he's administered anything to Batel at that point or not. So we don't know.
Point. That's a good point, because I just assumed he did, but yeah, you're right. So
we don't know if there's any consequences happening as a result of that. I don't know. Is there anything that I missed from RB's story here?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Besides,
according to IMDb, his name is Ensign Gamble.
Okay. All right. We'll go with that. Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
All right. So now we go on to our A story, which is the shuttle to Kenfori. What an amazing thing that would be the A story. And who wants to kind of give a rundown of what happens in the A story?
I can do it. Let's see.
Go for it.
Wait a minute. The rundown. I was looking at this.
Well, just kind of like,
Okay.
What happens when they get down there, and all the hilarity that ensues.
Yeah. So Mbenga and Pike start. They get down to the planet and they start making their way towards the research facility. But on the way, they see all this destruction and stuff that's been happening in the atmosphere. When they get down there and they get in the research facility, they hear a ship come by. And if I'm skipping something, that's fine. I'm sorry.
Well, one of the things that they noticed is that there was no.
No animals or anything. Right. Yeah.
Right. Although we heard insects, so there was insect life, but not animal life, if you will.
Right. So they make it to the research facility after noticing there was no animals or anything. And so they hear a ship, and I do like that moment where they're like, oh no, I don't think they saw us. And then the Klingon shuttle destroys their own shuttle. Anyway, they make their way. They get the Chimera flower, and they discuss amongst themselves about the whole situation. And of course, it becomes apparent to Pike that, they're not trying to cure her. They're trying to meld them together so they can live together. The Gorn DNA. And
right. It's not so much a cure as it is just a solution to the problem to keep her alive. Really. Yeah.
And Pike is none too happy about that. But then we realize that as we start hearing some other noises and stuff that, they do come across the Klingons that confront them. But at that moment, we see, dare I say the Z word?
Well, you can say it because they did say it.
Zombies. And it's not just any zombies. It's a mix of like researchers and Klingon zombies, which that's frightening, I think. Especially if you're a fan of Star Trek. You can imagine what a zombie Klingon would be like.
We already got zombie Vulcans, so on Enterprise. So we're making our way through the races.
That's true. I forgot about that. You're right. I didn't think about that until you just mentioned that. So they hide away a little bit and they end up getting caught. And when they find Mbenga and Pike, they take them to the top of the research facility where there's a shuttle, but there's other zombies up there, so they were able to shield them off in a conveniently placed, what do you call
Well,
it?
it's a force field. They've got a little
force field thing.
little force field just that's around the antenna, which I guess makes a little bit of sense that you'd have one around the antenna. Okay, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
What I thought was interesting is as soon as that field went up, man, talk about becoming docile zombies. They're just kind of standing around,
We're
walking
waiting.
back and forth, just kind of looking at their watches.
Come on, hurry up. Hurry up. Stop talking. So, yeah. And so there's of course, a showdown with Mbenga, and I forget the Klingon's name.
But why is there a showdown?
So there's a showdown because she's trying to avenge the honor of, oh man, I can't remember
her
his name.
house. Well, no, she's not
Of
trying
her
to avenge-
house, but
right.
it's the
I mean,
Klingon that Mbenga killed
Yes.
the previous season. So
Right.
right. So so she's trying to avenge his death.
She's trying to. Well, apparently because he was viewed as kind of a traitor to the Klingons that brought disrespect to her entire house. So she was seeking out Mbenga not so much to avenge her father's death, but to kill him because he killed her father, and that would bring honor back to their house. So it became kind of complex here, and especially when, as far as Pike knew up to this point, it was an accident. It was unintentional that the Klingon died.
I think he took a blind eye to that whole thing. He knew.
But I mean, he didn't get actual confirmation of it from Mbenga.
Mm-hmm.
And
because the security cameras just happened to be off.
Yes, well, that's how it goes.
In sick bay, yeah.
It's like the transporter not working when it has to not work and those type of things.
Right.
Yeah, so they have a battle that's supposedly to the death, and again, while the zombies are just kind of hanging around, waiting, going, I got an appointment at 6. Can you wrap it up really quick here?
I got to pick my car up from the shop. So, what was that Klingon's name? Do you remember? The Klingon lady
from this episode itself.
Yes.
Okay, I will search out here because my notes on this were sketchy notes, if you will.
All right.
I love that person, sketchy notes. So I'm going to go down the bottom of this thing here. Oh, boy, that's way too long. Too much information here. Hold on.
That's all right.
A second. Where is Bytha?
Unnamed Klingon.
Yeah. After searching for Bytha, I feel like it should have been
Bytha. Okay, so anyway, she starts a fight with Mbenga, and Mbenga takes up the challenge, and they fight it out. So and they're trying to kill her so they can get away to the shuttle, but then she kind of wanted to take up. Go ahead.
Well, what happens in the battle is that Mbenga is about to win.
That's right.
Because he gets the better of her, and then he takes his knife because she had given him a knife. Although I think maybe that was her knife by that point. The thing has got embedded in something. But instead of killing her, he just takes the blade and rubs it along her armor and throws it aside. So he forfeits, which really ticks her off because then she hasn't won.
Yeah. Nothing like a confused Klingon. Hey, you can't do that.
What? Who? What? Wait, look up the rules. Look at it. This is illegal. An illegal move.
Yeah, illegal move. So let's see. So there's that, and then she kind of, I don't know, I felt a little weird about this. She kind of changed didn't she like kind of change sides a little bit and decided to give them a chance to get away?
Well, she knew that, she had, in essence, lost the battle to regain honor by killing Mbenga. So she chose instead to sacrifice herself to save them,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be to restore
honor. Yeah. Right.
Because he says to her as he's going to leave, you will be welcomed in Stovall. So he's acknowledging that he understands the sacrifice. And then she gets overrun by zombies. Or not zombies, however you want to look at that.
Klingon zombies.
And apparently Pike and Mbenga know how to fly a Klingon bird of prey, so they we've kind of forgot another part of the story, which I'm starting to go, all right, look, the Klingons have windows. Come on now. We got away with this with the Gorn when you had the Enterprise kind of just there and the ships went past it. Now you've got the Enterprise saying, well, if we go really slow, then the Klingons won't notice that it's us.
Yeah.
And I'm going, I don't think so.
Well, actually, what you're talking about is actually a C story a little bit. And that's with Ortega. She was not herself because of the whole Gorn thing.
Right, which we saw coming.
Yeah, she was doing a great job with this, but with this mission, but at the same time, this was not her plan for this mission, and she seemed to take it pretty personally, and she looked kind of angry and upset about it the whole time. Yeah,
she was very much of the opinion, get into the thing quick and get out and be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like she was, in some essence, gun shy. Whether this is again post-traumatic stress, from the encounter with the Gorn, which is on top of her experiences during the Klingon War to begin with. But she's suggesting things and it's being shut down, and eventually she just does it anyway.
Yeah, and that's wrong. That's obviously wrong. You can't subvert the chain of command. But she would. Yeah, she was. And in the Gorn episode, she was pretty much cut and she was about to die. So I can understand if it was PTSD for sure. And it's too soon to throw her back in. And they even made a point to say that at one point. Are you sure you're okay to go back into command or back into your position? But she insisted. But I think it was way too soon. She needed some help.
Yeah, it definitely seemed too soon for that. But I don't think that they really understand so much she probably wasn't very open about what she was experiencing. And so
that's true too. Yeah.
Well, we've been gabbing and Joe, chime in here with,
hop in, Joe.
Well,
whatever your thoughts are.
Well, unfortunately, last week when I watched this episode, I didn't know I was going to be doing this week, so I didn't really take good notes.
That's okay.
I could be a little more.
Come on.
Yeah, look, I'll be livelier when we get to this week's.
Well,
I have fuzzy week old memories on this one.
Okay, fair enough. Let's broaden the question out a bit. How did you feel about having, in essence, another scary movie cliche almost of having a zombie episode of Strange New Worlds?
Honestly, when we got to, and now look, there's thousands of episodes of Star Trek at this point. You're going to repeat some concepts. But when we got to zombie Klingons, I did kind of just turn to Christine and say, "Oh, we're doing this again," because I immediately thought of the episode Impulse of Enterprise with the zombie Vulcans.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, it was fine. And 28 days later is playing now, so I guess it was good timing.
Yeah, 28 years
28 years later, yeah, that's right.
Covering their genres.
Yeah. So I don't know, but we just had that Gorn episode, so I don't know. They're going heavily into horror movie territory this year.
And did you have the same impression that I did when you saw the Enterprise sneaking past the Klingon ship? It's like, we just pulled this trick like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, with the Gorn.
yeah.
Yeah.
So really bad sensors, or Spock would say sensors on all of these alien ships.
I think-
Apparently,
I think
Well,
the
it's-
writers have bad sensors.
It's a little known thing, though. I don't know if you know this, but I think it's been established that Klingons don't look out windows because
Yeah.
warriors just that's very they don't have time to be out like looking like, hey, look at that squirrel. They can't.
but at least they have windows that they're not looking out of. So that's kind of like it might just happen by accident. They look out the window and say, "Hey, what's that giant white thing that's going past there? That's shaped like the Enterprise. Oh, that might be the Enterprise. No, it's a piece of ice. No, never mind.
Yeah.
It's like you see things in clouds. That's what you see there.
Hey, I think there was a scene where the Gorn did have a window. Well, they were flying the ship. There was like a scene, like a thing, but I guess they don't use it.
I think there was a deleted scene where they had somebody go out on the hull and spray paint "Not the Enterprise" on the side of the ship.
Oh yeah, we missed that one. The little the bots went out.
They put "not" in front of USS Enterprise.
You didn't see anything.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. I found the episode interesting, but forgettable. I think in a lot of ways, and which was a shame because it's, again, 10-episode season, so you don't want to be forgettable.
Yeah.
I think we should rate this one, and so we can move on to other stuff. So what do we want to rate it on? Zombies?
Chimera flowers.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, we're gonna go very fancy. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, Chimera flower. Well, since you suggested the scale, so 1 to 10 Chimera flowers. What do you say about this one, Craig?
I'm going to give it a 7.5. I enjoyed it to a large degree. I thought, what's her name again? The Klingon lady.
Bifa.
Yeah, Bytha. I didn't really. I don't know. There was something about her I just didn't buy, and and she had a whip just like a Ferengi. So I don't know. I just.
Oh yeah. Think about that one.
Yeah. So I don't know. About 7.5. I think it wasn't my favorite episode, although I was intrigued by the zombie Klingons. I thought that was interesting.
And they tried to go through some machinations to explain why there are zombies, because they would experiment with the Chimera plant, and they grafted it to wheat, which could survive like virtually forever without dying. And so you kind of mush all this together, and it takes over all the life on the planet, which is how the researchers and the Klingons end up being these undead creatures. They're
Right.
dead, but they're not dead type of thing.
Right.
All right. What about you, Joe? 1 to 10 Chimera plants.
I would give it a 5. It was fine. I think it's the weakest episode of the season so far, but it was fine.
Yeah, I think I'm going to just about go with what you said, Joe. I'm going to go with like 5.5. For me,
Wow.
I thought it was, I don't know. I felt like there were pieces there. And to me, I was much more interested in what was going on with Batel than this other mission. And we didn't really get much of that story, nor will we get much of that story for a while, apparently. But I felt like that was where the focus should have been, not this thing. And also it tended to, in some respects for me, it kind of cheapened a bit Under the Cloak of War, the episode from last season, because you have, Mega stating this thing straight up that this is what he did and so forth. And I just felt like, well, it was kind of better when it was really supposedly ambiguous what happened. And you kind of try to claw that back with the conversation at the end with Pike and Mbenga, where he says, well, what would you do? Well, you were telling a story, and that's what I would say about it, and it was just a story. Wouldn't you say that's right, Joseph?
I'd agree with that.
All right.
You mean him, Joseph, not me, Joseph.
Yes. Well,
That's right.
but both and or neither. No, that doesn't make any sense, does it? That doesn't make any sense at all. All right. Well, it's time to come back from our first main mission with an appropriate sound effect.
Oh, that would be me. Hold on a second. There we go. It's my Ren and Stimpy sound effect.
Okay. And it's time to find out whether or not we're going to have Good Charlie or Charlie X, or well, Mirror Charlie, we're calling Good Charlie, or Charlie X when we ask for permission to do Subspace Chatter, which we'll ignore no matter what is said.
He likes to be called Charlie, formerly known as Twitter.
I'm sure he does, but we don't like to please Charlie very much.
That's right.
So, all right. So, Charlie, are we all set to go with Subspace Chatter?
Sure thing, friend. I love Subspace Chatter. Let's get going.
All righty, Charlie. Well, Craig, why don't you start us off? You've got the first
All
story
right.
here.
All right. So the Strange New Worlds panel at San Diego Comic-Con this year, 2025, delivered some truly wild reveals that has everybody talking. And the big shocker, Captain Pike is getting a puppet-sized, he's getting puppetized in season 4. Yes, you heard that right. Anson Mount's Captain Pike will appear in felt form alongside other members of the USS Enterprise crew, courtesy of Jim Henson's Creature Shop. An announcement video screened at the Hall H panel even showed Puppet Pike. Say that 3 times fast.
Well, it's
Muppet
Muppet Pike.
Pike.
Red leather,
Yeah.
yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Yes.
I think Puppet Pike was harder to say. Muppet Pike declaring, hit it, from the captain's chair, only to find himself hilariously alone. This Puppet-versed episode, directed by Jordan Canning of the Fraggle Rock Back to the Rock, is being called the show's biggest swing yet, following past genre-bending adventures like the musical episode and an animated crossover. Co-showrunner Akiva Goldsman even mused about a terrible transporter accident, possibly causing the felt-like effects.
Yeah, I felt like they should come across Muppet, the security officer from Lower Decks, have the little stuffed doll of him be in the episode as well. I
do have a puppet of him.
And I put on the graphic for those of us watching that that this is Star Trek entering what I call the puppet parade. I've got an image from the episode of Angel, where there was one of the characters was a puppet. The episode of Community, where they were all puppets. An episode of The Simpsons, where they were all puppets, and a segment of an episode of Stargate, where they were all puppets.
The Jim Henson Company has been busy because not only this, but they're also doing General Mills monster cereals in puppet form right now. Count Chocula, Frankenberry, they're all puppets now.
That's right. I saw the box for Frankenberry.
Yeah,
that's right. Just recently. Yeah.
All right. Should I go on to the next?
You should.
All right.
Yeah.
The surprises didn't stop there. Co-showrunners Akiva Goldsman and Henry Alonzo Myers also dropped some cryptic hints about a familiar face making a return. Sybok, Spock's half-brother, who was teased back in season 1. When asked if we would see him again, Goldsman coyly said, "It's interesting you should ask." And Myers added, "You very well may see Sybok. A version of Sybok, yes." They also teased that Romulans will be back as well. Clearly, Strange New Worlds is not slowing down its craziness in season 4, with Myers promising even more really crazy ones besides the puppet episode. It seems the show truly delights in pushing the boundaries of what Star Trek can be.
Well, we've already seen Sybok's back. Not Sybok is back, but Sybok's back. It's kind of, English is hard. Sybok's
not back. Yeah.
But his back is back.
We'll start rapping in a minute.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be surprising. I believe when we see him kind of make that little cameo, that he already is kind of like a little different than all the other Vulcans. So it'd be interesting to see where he would be in his journey if we see him again. And also this thing about, a version of him. okay, is that like the versions of Kirk we always get? Well, this isn't Kirkness. It's a version of
Yeah,
Kirk,
version.
but it's, you know,
Yeah.
so
Well,
I have an aversion to these versions.
You know what I'd be really interested in learning about is what was Cybok's relationship with Michael Burnham?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
because he's a Vulcan who rejected logic and embraced emotion, and then he had a stepsister who is human who was trying to be more Vulcan. That's an interesting dynamic there.
I could see Spock doing. I know this is on video, but Spock going, don't. Yeah, trying to give him signals like, don't talk about Michael.
We don't talk about Burnham.
Yeah, I mean, and they would be allowed to talk about Michael Burnham. I don't think that Michael Burnham doesn't exist after the stuff with Control. What happened to Discovery is expunged, but I don't think any of the people that were on Discovery just vanished from the records. So theoretically, you could have a discussion about Michael with
Well, he
them
knew-
on the show.
Well, he
And
knew her
Cybok's
before
not,
she took
he's
off.
not Starfleet anyway, so who's going to enforce that with him?
That's right.
Even if it was.
And he knew her before she left, so he should have a pretty good mental recall on that.
He plays by his own rules.
Hey, watch him walk in. Where's Michael? And oh, she's not here anymore. What happened?
Well,
Ixnay
just-
on the Michael A.
just stand right here for about 900 years. She'll show up. Anyway. All right. As part of Star Trek's Hall H presentation at San Diego Comic-Con, we learned that Khan Noonien Singh may be harder to kill than the Borg. Yep. Captain Kirk's greatest foe is finally going to get his chance to spill the Romulan ale with his take on the whole SETI Alpha 5 story. All thanks to a new audio drama coming to an audio streaming service near you. Originally announced as Star Trek Khan SETI Alpha 5, the production will be released under the simplified title Star Trek Khan. It will be a 6-episode audio series. The production was
You said
the series was
9.
produced.
I think it's
Yeah.
9 episodes, isn't it?
Yeah, 9-episode audio series. The series was produced by CBS Studios iPodcast Productions Inc., which I didn't even know they had, Secret Hideout, and Roddenberry Entertainment. It was directed by Fred Greenhall and written by Kirsten Bayer and David Mack, based on the unproduced Khan miniseries written by noted Trek director and screenwriter Nicholas Meyer.
Nice. All right. Well, the voice includes Naveen Andrews and Khan Noonien Singh, and Ren Schmidt as the fated Lieutenant Marla McGivens. There will also be some surprising guest stars involved in the story, namely Dr. Rosalind Lear, voiced by Sonia Cassidy, and Ensign Tuvok. Where have I heard that name before? Oh, yeah, Tuvok. And the Captain Hakura Sulu, Tim and George Takei.
Well,
Well,
Tim Russ,
respectfully.
I guess
I'm sorry, Tim Russ
put that
and
back
George
in there.
Takei will be respectively in their characters, in their skins.
It's getting weird. Move on.
The trailer for the production reveals the frame story. That the frame story takes place aboard the USS Excelsior. Dr. Lear digging into the background of what happened in SETI Alpha 5, Star Trek Khan,
No, stop that. Stop
no,
that.
sorry, in the 20 years between Khan's arrival and his subsequent escape aboard the USS Reliant. So the scripted audio series will debut on Star Trek Day, September 8th, just 4 days before the last episode of Season 3, Strange New Worlds. New episodes will be available weekly on Mondays through November 3rd, wherever you get your podcast. Have they not heard of the dog days of podcasting?
Well, they're not bumping up against us here, which I think is interesting. What I think is interesting here is that we essentially kind of sort of get an extra 8 weeks of Trek, if you really want to, go that route, with this coming out on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
So, that that gap between the end of Trek and whatever the next Trek is, probably, something we're going to talk about very
Academy.
soon, will be a little bit shorter because this thing is going on. That's the way I look at it.
Are we going to do reviews of these episodes, I assume?
Yeah, I think so.
I wonder if they're going to squeeze in any of the retcons Strange New World made to Khan with was it Tomorrow and Tomorrow, and I wonder if they'll work that in there.
I'm guessing no, because this has been in the works for so long that it would be really hard to kind of make that to dovetail those together, right? Because you'd have all the stuff happening and it'd be like at the wrong time for these things to sync up with each other.
I think Khan's gonna be like, it's Tuesday and I still haven't seen my daughter. She joined Starfleet and they've been out for quite a while.
Well, guess what?
What?
There's even more straight from San Diego Comic-Con.
What?
Star Trek Starfleet Academy beamed down with some truly stellar reveals. This isn't just another walk through the halls. This new series is set in the 32nd century after the events of Star Trek Discovery and is launching in early 2026 to kick off the franchise's 60th anniversary celebrations.
Yeah, that's why they're delaying it. Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Expect a fresh, undeniably Gen Z vibe described as focusing on personnel fulfillment, romance, and a sense of belonging. A delightful shift from the ISER days, and leading this bold new class, none other than Academy Award winner Holly Hunter as Nyla Aki, the school's chancellor and captain of the USS Athena. Now, those who are bright-eyed. Now, who are these bright-eyed recruits joining the first class?
Who are they?
Yeah, do tell.
The San Francisco campus.
Everyone's asking. I've read it right here. Everyone's asking.
What is the San Francisco treat?
We have a fantastic ensemble, including Sandro Rasta as Caleb Meir, an orphan and a space rat who enters Starfleet as an outsider, allowing the audience to discover its values through his eyes. Then there's Karim Diane as Jaden Cragg, a full-on Klingon cadet who dares to dream of becoming a medical officer. And he got advice from Michael Dorn himself.
Nice.
But perhaps the most unique is Carice Brooks as Sam, a photonic hologram who was literally only created weeks ago, bringing absolutely no baggage to the final frontier. Talk about a fresh perspective.
Oh, my.
And here's a fun twist. The school is a ship, the USS Athena, which deploys for real-life situations, making it a teaching hospital in space for hands-on learning.
Did not see that coming, sir. Did not see that coming.
Yeah, it's because they got cloaking.
Oh.
Anyway, so of course, what's a Star Trek series without a compelling antagonist? Award nominee Paul Giamatti steps into the role of Noose Braca, this season's main villain, who was revealed to be part Klingon and part Tellarite. I don't want to meet his parents. Giamatti is a self-professed Trek fan, he even chose the villainous role after being offered 5 different parts, which some of them he was probably too old for, students.
No,
Enjoying.
I don't think he was offered.
He was offered the Klingon, Jaden Cragg.
All right, Paul, can you play 14-year-old? Anyway.
I can play anything.
Yeah, that's right. He was offered 5 different parts, enjoying the makeup process as it helped him to drop into the character. Executive producer Alex Kurtzman explains that Giamatti's character represents a tide that has swept across the world in a very profound and upsetting way, reflecting Gene Roddenberry's original vision of using science fiction to tackle real-world issues like division and the importance of empathy. So get ready for blossoming friendships, explosive rivalries, first loves, and a new enemy. The school year is shaking up to be a truly out-of-this-world event.
So just a quick second here. In the trailer that we got for it, we also had a few more people. Want to mention that we see Robert Picardo as the holographic doctor. We see Tig Notaro as Jet Reno in there, and Gina Yashir as Laura Thok, a member of the faculty, and that character is half Klingon and half Jem'Hadar.
Wow, there's a lot of cross pollination
I've
going on.
I've seen some complaints that how could there be a female Jem'Hadar? Jem'Hadar are bred to only be male. It's 800 years later. Things change.
Yeah.
Mhm.
except
Also-
for the uneven jackets. That bugs me. I don't know why that
Yes.
bugs me.
But I want to mention that one thing we didn't see anything of, Tilly,
Yeah, that's interesting.
nowhere.
She's in the cast though. They say she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna have I thought she'd have a bigger part. We'll see.
We will see. We will indeed.
Maybe
All
we'll
right.
hold them back a
Can I
little bit.
throw an aside in here real quick?
You certainly can.
You know Clinton quite well.
I know Clinton quite well. Yes.
I do too. I've
You
met him
know,
a
one of
couple
my
times.
one of my pet peeves is when people say nobody asked for this. That
Yes.
drives me crazy. And I have heard people saying nobody asked for this. Nobody was asking for a Starfleet Academy series. First of all, my pet peeve is you don't make something because someone asked for it. There's no application you could send into Hollywood like, here's what I would like made. No. You make they make what they have an idea for. That's number
Yeah.
one. But number two, people have been asking for this for 30 years.
Right.
For 30 years, every time a new Star Trek spinoff, people were like, can we get an Academy show? So yeah, people have been asking for this one a long time.
Hey,
Plus,
nobody was asking for a Macintosh until they got it.
Exactly.
no one was asking for a headache until they get. No, that's bad analogy there. But well, not only that, but they've been trying to produce a Starfleet Academy since I think Harv Bennett was the first person to suggest it.
Yeah.
And so that we're talking about back in the 80s, they were trying to do this, and they it didn't happen. So yeah, this is a very long time in the making, and I think it's interesting that so if I'm understanding it correctly, all these sets that we're seeing are on board the Athena. So this is a very large ship that we're this flying classroom, if you will. So that's going to be interesting to see what how capable is the Athena in terms of weaponry.
Defensive? Yeah.
Yeah. Is it, I mean, it's a training ship and it's not necessarily meant to go into battle type of thing.
Hey, y'all are under 18. We can't give y'all weapons.
That's right.
Hey,
Ah.
they did make a Starfleet Academy before.
Well,
In
we're talking
1997, the video game.
right. So
Oh.
that's a slide I have here. Matter of fact, if you're looking at the video,
Yeah, there you
the
go.
logo is exactly the same. I mean, they use for the new streaming series, they're using the classic TOS font for Star Trek, which has
Yeah.
been a constant for the streaming stuff. And then what I would call Star Trek, the motion picture font for Starfleet Academy. And the video game used that font for both. And it had the same shimmer, the same color. It looks pretty much exactly the same as the video game box,
Yeah.
which I thought was interesting.
Did either of you play that before?
I did not play that one, so I don't know how good of a game it was.
Well, I did, but
Okay.
it's been like 100 years ago. But but I remember enjoying it. Now, the acting, I was kind of into it, because they have these cut scenes, and the guy, what was his name? The one guy was trying to be the captain, be the centerpiece of the whole thing, and I just remember it being slightly on the cheesy side, but I thought it was a fun game. I remember thinking it was fun. It's been it's been a long time since I've seen this, but
Okay.
it was worth playing.
Well,
Unlike the VHS Star Trek game with pre-Gowron.
oh yes.
Anyway,
I never did play that one.
All right. So during the I'm debating whether or not to put up the slide because I did a typo here on somebody's name, but I'll put up the picture anyway. During Star Trek's Hall H panel, Strange New World showrunners Akiva Goldsman and Henry Alonso Myers asked about the series coming to an end with season 5, or were asked about that coming to an end. They also had a request to make to fans. They said that if people wanted more, they should start a letter writing campaign. And I'm thinking, oh, great, another letter writing campaign
yeah.
to Paramount and incoming Skydance. To what end? Yeah. To what end? It's something they refer to as Star Trek Year One. Apparently, the final episode of Strange New Worlds will see Captain Kirk taking command of the Enterprise. And even before that happens, we will see more original crew members showing up. Goldsman and Myers confirmed that it's 100% the dream plan to have a sequel show that chronicles Paul Wesley's Kirk in his first year as captain, though they haven't had any concrete discussions about it.
Nothing would make us happier than to be able to continue telling stories of how Pike's crew transitions to Kirk's crew and how Kirk's crew sets off, Myers told reporters. Obviously, when we come into TOS, it's not the first day of the job. Fundamentally, there are relationships that already exist. How did they happen? And obviously, we have the opportunity for Sulu, and we have the opportunity for McCoy in a longer life, and opportunity for Chekhov. So it would be awesome to be able to continue. Where would that leave characters such as number one, Ortegas and Jenna Mitchell?
Airlock.
No, stop that. Stop that.
Myers and Goldsman say they have post-show paths for those characters, and that even though they may not be seen, it doesn't mean they don't exist. I guess that leaves open the possibility of guest appearances.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I asked an impartial observer, my wife Bonnie, what she thought about the idea. And she wasn't opposed to the idea. The problem she has is that she's still not convinced about Paul Wesley's Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would,
I understand
clearly that's lead. And if it's not working, we'll talk in a minute or two about the fact that we still don't really know anything more about Paul Wesley's Kirk. But yeah, that is kind of a key point. Also, I just wonder how all those people out there who are the legacy advocates feel about them going, hey, we want you to write to Paramount and Skydance about Star Trek Year One.
Mm-hmm.
And how that's going down with people.
I'm not opposed to them continuing into TOS era, which is kind of interesting because I always thought, okay, if they extended TOS, to do the 5 years, you always think, oh, it's on the back end. But what if it was the 2 years was at the front end? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, yeah.
Because this is alluding to the fact that I think the position they're taking is that they view Where No Man Has Gone Before is the first time you meet the crew.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore you don't have McCoy. You don't have Chekhov.
That's right.
Don't have some of these characters. So they would not, you don't have to introduce those characters. Now, of course, you don't have Uhura, but Uhura is already in the show. So she's kind of like off an assignment or something, during Where No Man Has Gone Before. But yeah, it allows you to, even after the show starts, to have more of those characters coming into the show.
Yeah.
I think though that the problem I have is that calling it Star Trek Year One is, so does that mean if it gets continued, it's Star Trek Year Two, Star Trek Year Three? It just, it's kind of an odd name to have for the show. It
is. And I think it kind of follows the nomenclature, like when they have there's a Batman and a Superman series, a comic book series, is Batman Year One. It's when he was trying to figure himself out. Same thing with Superman. It's the first time he's been Superman and it's his first year growing into the character. So I get it. I understand exactly what they're doing, but yeah, they can't call it Year One for 3 years or 2 years or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to say I'm very grateful that they didn't have more cast members already on the show that would transition over, because I made up the image that I tried to jam them all into one shot, and some of them I didn't have entire bodies of them. So just kind of, let's kind of fudge Mbenga having legs in this photo. It's just weird.
Yeah. I still want to see Eric's and some other characters pop in.
Oh, please. I think we all want that. We all want that.
I'll tell you, I don't really want to see this as a series. Like I feel like we have that series. That's the original series. We've already got that series, but I'll give you an alternative.
Okay.
Why not let these characters under Paul Wesley's Kirk continue into the movies, because one of the issues they've been having with the Kelvin universe is these actors are very, very expensive, and these movies they're not very profitable because of how much they cost to make. Star Trek's a very niche audience. The original movies did well, but they also weren't too expensive to make. If you can bring a movie in with a Paul Wesley in the lead as opposed to a Chris Pine, you're going to keep your budget down. And I think you have a much more profitable film on your hands.
So you're talking about not a continuation of the Kelvin verse. You're talking about
Some sequel
having
movies.
them be in the actual prime timeline movie cast.
Exactly.
Okay.
Just why not? I mean, it's one thing that, I on my show we do a lot of talk about Hollywood, and one of the big things is keeping budgets down right now. Like
Mhm.
we keep getting $200-300 million budgets, and then they can't recoup.
Yep.
This cast, I love them, but they're not exactly huge names. Now, Kirk and Spock, those are names. People will go to see Kirk and Spock, but you're not going to be paying a Paul Wesley, but you're going to be paying a Chris Pine.
So what you would say then is kind of have them at the end of the 5-year mission, and it's that gap between the end of the 5-year mission and Star Trek the Motion Picture, or I might be misunderstanding.
Either way, you could have it on the front end, the back end, but I just think it would be more because we already had that as a TV show. Like you said, we have people campaigning for Legacy. Well, however you feel about Legacy, that is something we haven't had yet. Like that is
Right.
something new. Like that, this is, hey, give up that new thing you want for this thing that we've already had. Now we're going to remake it.
The only thing that I would say in defense of it that I view as very valid is that the number of people that just will not watch TOS because the cheesy sets, the cheesy effects, the mentality of the 60s, they just won't watch it. And so it starts to become like a Doctor Who fan who knows that there is old Doctor Who. They're never going to sit down to watch it.
Yeah.
It's there, but to them, it's like it might as well not exist. It might as well just be names only.
Yeah. Somebody just wrote something down, and
So if you were to do this and say, okay, we are going to, with the same production budget that we've had from the Next Generation on, with all, the modern sensibilities, effects, and so forth, kind of reinvent, if you will, TOS to then have that entire lineage. That's the argument I would make for it more than anything else. That
Well-
you have a franchise where part of it just isn't really getting utilized anymore.
Well, I do like the idea of this being on the front end of the 5-year mission, because this is at this point, even because most of the crew's flipping, we got the old Pike crews kind of going out, and we got the Kirk centric crew. They're trying to learn to work with each other. So you got to build that team up, rather than, I think it would be a little weird just all of a sudden they're in sync. You need to see them having trouble with each other, working things out. It's the whole, what do they call that? When you have a new team, there's the,
team building.
the team building where there's, you'd end up gelling at the end of it. I'm trying to remember the whole spiel, but it's where you have conflict, and then everything works out and you start working it together. And I would like to see that blend into the TOS we know and love.
Well, you essentially have that in half the Star Trek movies, certainly in the Kelvinverse movies, where there's conflict between, members of the crew, and then they all kind of work that out and work together by the end of it. You had it in the first movie, you had it in Into Darkness, not so much in Star Trek Beyond. You had some conflict there with, like what Spock was thinking he wanted to do and so forth, and Kirk maybe thinking about leaving. But those first two movies were definitely that scenario of a team has to be built on the fly and gel.
Here's the phases I was talking about. You got forming, storming, where they're not really gelling, and then there's a phase where they norm, then they're norming, and then they're performing. And that's the performing part, is when you get into the TOS where the team's working
And
properly.
the norming is when they all walk into a bar, right? And
Norm!
screams.
Yeah. Norm, what's up? Yeah.
Well,
that's
except
right.
they'd say mourn instead. So that's
Yeah, mourn. They're mourning. Wait a minute. Who died? So anyway, those are the phases I was thinking of.
okay. We're going to drop the last story so we don't run too long.
Sure. All right.
So let me just pull back here and get myself reset.
Hey, while you're resetting, one thing that we didn't mention here yet about the Star Trek Academy little trailer that they had was the wall of names.
Yes.
And the wall of name, I don't know if you have it in here, but there's
I
a
don't.
lot of, you don't?
No, I was thinking about putting in going, well, those names are going to be so small, it'll be hard
No,
to...
and that's fine. I just wanted to say that there was a lot of names on there. You go, oh, look at there, look at there, look at there. And that's probably all it means is, to kind of the tie-in. But there were some like, I think they had Wesley on there as something like that. And then they had a Lieutenant Admiral, one
of the ones that I think that they had on there was Zero, and people were speculating, well, is that Zero from Prodigy? First of all, I'd love it if it was, because there's no reason why you can't tie into Prodigy.
Yeah.
When Starfleet Academy starts, if the Doctor only references Voyager and doesn't reference Prodigy, I'll be very upset.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason why that can't happen.
Yeah.
And there were some other names like, Captain John Harriman, Captain Will Decker, Carol Freeman, Commander Beckett Mariner. I guess she got promoted a little bit.
She got herself in there twice.
Yeah,
yes,
Admiral
yes,
Tawny Newsom.
Yeah, and people were talking about that, and I said, well, to me, the thing is that you would always have those names on the dedication plaques, right? The dedication plaque on any of the starships is usually just production people, Gene and, right from the beginning,
Bob Justman
and Matt Jeffries and so forth. Yeah. And then that it's continued. The difference was that's small. You really can't read it. It's there.
It's for nitpicky people,
right. And the fans know that it's there, but now you've got it on the screen, and you've got Janet Lumet, who's one of the producers. You've got Tawny Newsom. You've got these great.
Aaron McDonald was on there.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's the place to put those names. Those names, have it on the dedication plaque for the Athena if you want to do that. But this should be for the characters that we know as the characters. And I love the fact that you have characters from Lower Decks in there. Again, tie in. So tie in all the stuff. Tie in, if you can get a reference in there for Eric's, tie it in, put that in there. You get a reference to the characters, from Prodigy, put them in there. Make it all the one big happy family that it's, they're supposed to be.
Yeah. They have B'Elanna. And yeah, you're right. But they have B'Elanna Torres, Rios, which he kind of stepped out of the timeline, didn't he?
He was a Starfleet officer before he.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting that they had the history of names on the wall, and you go, oh, so and so got up. They didn't have like Captain Harry Kim, but
well,
so he still got messed up.
I thought somebody said though. I thought
he's an admiral on there, Admiral Harry Kim.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Was it
on there? Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was just making a joke. I didn't remember seeing.
He didn't just get promoted. He got promoted all the way up.
It was just one promotion.
He talked to all the other Harry Kims, and they said, "Dude, you got to represent for everybody here."
It was just one promotion. He went from ensign to captain.
It's additive, just kind of open up.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to say goodbye to Mirror Charlie to close out Subspace Chatter. So goodbye, Mirror Charlie.
Thanks for having me along. It was fun. But now my Phasian step-parents are calling, so I gotta go! Go!
The virtual street lamps are on. I got to go home.
Yes. Go home, young man. Go home.
Yeah.
All right. Time to head out on main mission number 2 with an appropriate sound effect.
And that would be, wait a minute, hold for it.
Can we call it the second main mission? Main mission number 2 sounds like a bathroom code.
Oh, my.
There you go.
Well, it kind of goes with this effect. I don't know.
The comedy buttons.
There's your comedy right there. Okay, Joe, can you give us the lowdown on main mission part 2 here?
Oh, hang on one second.
Just got to scroll down like
Yeah,
page
catching up,
11. I put
All
11.
right, here we go. Main mission 2 with an inappropriate sound effect. Short plot synopsis: When Lon tests a
Sorry.
when Lon tests a prototype holodeck with a fictional case only she can solve, the consequences of failure get greater and greater, with the Enterprise hanging in the balance.
Okay, and you can
It's
give
on a
us the,
string, actually. That's what,
right above there the credits part. The
It's written by Dana Horgan and Catherine Lynn and directed by a little guy named Little Johnny Frakes.
oh, whatever happened to him?
yeah. If we only knew.
Well, one thing that we do know is he actually appears in this as audio. The very end of the show. I don't know if you noticed, but the very end of the episode, when we've got those outtakes, and there's an off-screen voice, the director's off-screen voice.
Oh, yes.
It's Jonathan
Yeah.
Frakes.
I did hear. I remember that. He was like, not cut, but he said something. Yeah, I remember seeing that, hearing that. Yeah.
So there we go. He's made it into another series.
I did like the outtakes. It's like, all right, go left. And, everybody else was going the other way.
Well, I love the fact that we did a production one time, which I've often referenced and have never put up on YouTube, but we did a play that I wrote with another person that was called Star Trek II Spock Zero. It was a parody of Star Trek II. And so we would have to do the everybody left, everybody right. And then we filmed it, or we videotaped it in the studio, the same thing. So I'm very used to the everybody this way, everybody that way type of thing. And you hear Jonathan Frakes yelling that out.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody now left, right. And they're just kind of bouncing around back and forth.
Like
It's
Ortega
that's-
was going the wrong way. And
Yeah.
yeah.
They still do it that way. That's the way they still do those hits after all this time.
It
That's
always
kinda
reminds me
pretty
of the Saturday Night Live, the Star Trek Saturday Night Live, where they're, port, Harbor, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Frankly, Captain, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So this one is a cavalcade of what going on in this episode.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So we have the basic story here is that the Enterprise is on a mission to catalog some information about a nebula, right? Is it a nebula? But I wrote it down here. Neutron star. Sorry, neutron star. Its collapse. And while that's happening, they thought this is a great time for Nan to have this special assignment. And the special assignment is she is going to stress test, if you will, the recreation room, or the recreation room, called holodeck for short, that has been placed on board the Enterprise. So she has to go in there and just try to kind of break the thing, if you will, or by not
Stress test it.
So, first of all, they do the nod to the animated series because they call it the recreation room.
That's right.
And
I caught that. Yeah.
Right. So in the animated series, the room is called Recreation Room that they go into, which is essentially the first appearance ever of a prototype holodeck in Star Trek. But then they just call it a holodeck after that.
Yeah. It sounds much better.
Yeah. So
That's
what
what
did
she-
you? So she decides on this character, Amelia Moon, who is a detective, 1950s, 60s detective. Well, we'll say 60s, even though I guess because it's based on the character. So 1960s hard-boiled detective,
Right.
female detective, and she became familiar with this because the captain of her old ship had the books and she got hooked on the books. So she chooses this character and goes in. And then, of course, things go horribly wrong once she's in there. How do people feel about seeing the holodeck looking exactly like the TNG holodeck? Meaning the black space with the yellow lines.
Go ahead, Joe.
This didn't bother me at all. I know that's going to be controversial with some people, but I always say it fits in continuity through omission, meaning never in the original series did they say there wasn't a holodeck. It's like we didn't see it, but
I don't mean about the holodeck showing up, because we have the precedent of it being in the animated series.
Oh yeah.
I mean about it actually looking like exactly
with the grid
like
lines.
the TNG holodeck would look like.
Yeah, that it didn't bother me because it's not like there was a precedent of like, well, this is what they look like on the original series. I mean, yeah, it was on the animated series, obviously, but the animated series, we're now accepting it as canon, but for years its canonicity has been in question. So I don't know that you have to be beholden to what it looked like.
Did you just make up a phrase? The canonicity? Did you just
canonicity?
Try to slide that past?
Yeah.
Is that like Wessonality or something? What?
Yeah.
Well, I would say that I don't think I really had a problem with it, but it just took me out of the story for a moment because I went, "Oh, it looks just like the Enterprise D," and then I kind of jumped back in. So I don't know.
Especially when at one point Spock calls for Arch. I'm going, okay.
Yeah.
Just door, exit, portal.
Well, I did like how Star Trek New Voyages, the fan film that's on YouTube, that's excellent if you like TOS. They did a little bit with the holodeck. Now they handled it a little differently. Scotty was building it, and he had Kirk on there testing it out, and Doug Drexler was the Western guy holding a gun in Kirk's face, and Kirk was like, "Wow, I could almost smell the gun oil," kind of thing. I liked that a little bit because it didn't make it look like, oh, this is a technology we've had for a long time. This is still a prototype.
I think, isn't that the first thing Lon says when she's in there? I can almost smell I can almost smell the wood and the smoke. The
cigarette smoke. Yeah, cigarette smoke. Yeah. And then Spock starts going in his PSA about not smoking.
Yes. And inadvisable to do it in any state. So we need to talk about, when we're talking about the holodeck, this mission that she gives herself, and I noticed that it's carefully phrased, not exactly the way that Moriarty thing was phrased. It's not like you can't beat it. It's like it's a challenge. It's meant to be a challenge for her to solve this thing. But we get the setup for this before the very first thing that happens in the episode is we're thrust into this cheesy version of classic TOS on board the USS Adventure.
Hey, even that's also mentioned. This was also the intro and everything at the beginning of the show.
Yes,
the whole intro was based on this.
Right, all the way through the credits themselves. The credits were not the credits for our cast. It was the credits for the cast of The Last Frontier.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Listener Diane says in here, in the opening, that shot, seeing that pose in the captain's chair, I laughed out loud. That was so Kirk. Yeah. Absolutely. Paul Wesley's Kirk, not Kirk, because the characters are unnamed in this opening. It's just the captain, the doctor, and based on something said further on in the episode, number one, the first officer, who's apparently just a lieutenant, which is the character that Chapel is playing. Those are they don't have names in particular. We know the actor's name is for the characters, but they're just listed as such. But yeah, and I thought it was really like a Inception with the opening theme that the credits played over, because you had the You had the version of Space of Fun or Frontier, but kind of an off way. But you had a 60s version altered of the Strange New Worlds theme, which is an altered version of the TOS theme.
Yes. Oh, yes. I did notice that.
It was like, that is like, a turducken of music right there.
Turducken.
And I'd just like to say, everybody write to Paramount and Skydance and tell them, forget Star Trek Year One. We want the
this.
Last Frontier.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
Actually,
we need a bigger bridge, I think, if we're going to
Yeah.
do that.
I liked how Paul Wesley was really digging into the William Shatner style of Kirk. Like
Yeah.
he kept leaning on the word diction.
Yes.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna throw down the gauntlet right now. You know me. I don't usually cosplay, but when I make my return to Dragon Con, let's do this. Let's do the Last Frontier costumes.
Wait a
Oh,
minute.
you probably see him this month.
Yeah, but I mean us. Let's do them.
Oh. I did like the
I'm not
costume.
I'm not going to wear the Shaw costume. I mean, my goodness, talk about short. No.
I just read an article where Paul Wesley was talking about that the way William Shatner did his Kirk, he didn't want to emulate that. He was like, because it's done, it's in everybody's brains. I want to do my own thing. And then I watched this episode. I went, he's totally emulating.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you never want to, when you're taking on a role, you don't want to do an impression. You don't want to,
right.
You're not, you need to, bring something. You have to play the part, not do imitate. But this is a perfect opportunity. This is like,
because you're supposed to be Shatner. In this thing.
Yeah. Oh, I totally recognize that. I mean, I was just saying, I thought it was funny. I was just reading that and I watched this episode. I'm like, whoa. I mean, he's actually, and then the funny thing was they zoomed into his face and he was trying to get his eyebrows right.
And
a little bit of hair sticking.
Yeah. The light would switch. Yeah. And then that alien they had in the view screen.
Right. You can see the poles, the puppet poles for the arms.
You can see the arms. You can see the person's arms and that was totally funny.
Oh, you're speaking about the Igonians in that one.
That's
what
right.
did they call it? They called it the space TV or something. Put it on the space TV.
Well, they had the space phone.
That was it. The space phone.
Space phone. That's
and of course, they get their brains stolen. And the first officer, number one, is saying we can't give them a brains. We need them for science reasons.
Science reasons.
That was the best line in the episode, I think.
And they're suffering
Is
from
that a call back to Spock's brain? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. They're suffering from melancholia, which only happens if they're in proximity to these Igonians. So after their brains are stolen, they have to find them and get their brains back, and then their joy.
Their joy. We need to get our joy back.
So it was quite the thing, especially with the outtakes at the end of it. I think it's also amusing that Frakes has now seen his chair mounting referenced in 2 different versions of episodes he's directed.
Oh yeah.
No, that's my question. Was the outtakes was that scripted for Paul Wesley to do that, or was Paul Wesley goofing?
No, I think most of this was scripted because you have the camera just there when that happens to be happening. 1 or 2 of them might have been, but I mean, I don't think Paul Wesley would have done that to the chair. If he thought the first thing, if the chair fell apart, he would have been like, "Oh my, I broke it! Oh goodness gracious, no!"
That captain chair is too big to just go. I'm gonna do a Riker maneuver unless you were planning on doing it for comedic effect, because it has a big arm on the side. You can't just sit down. Yeah,
but I just have the biggest kick though out of like Frank sitting there going, "Oh, we're doing this again, are we? Okay."
Yeah.
It's always when he's directing too.
Yes.
That was hilarious. He hit his knee on the back of the thing and it all fell apart. Yeah. And Ortega's the costuming was great. Actually, you know what this started reminding me of was what was the Black Mirror episode?
Yes,
You know,
yes.
the
The
Black Mirror with
Callister.
McAllister. That was it. That's what it kind of reminded me of a little bit, although it was even more over the top.
All right, so then now we have we've met our cast, if you will, but there are other players involved in this mystery because what happens is Tony Hart, the studio head, has been murdered.
Mm.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
And we don't know.
1A, 1T, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, I got it spelled wrong here in my notes then. I thought it was 2 A's, 2 T's. Anyway, I don't know why I would think that was the way it was spelled.
Yeah.
So we get introduced to all the characters at this point in the story. We get introduced to TK Bellows, who is being played by Pike. And now all the characters look like crew members on the holodeck, because here we go, timey-wimey stuff. Scotty says, well, we need to have very high fidelity scans of people to be on the holodeck. And the only thing we've got of that high fidelity are pattern buffers. And so he uses the bridge crew and Kirk to be the people that represent. Now, Kirk, there's nobody else on board
Well,
the
he just
Enterprise.
He
Has
just
Scotty-
beamed in recently.
Has
so-
Scotty even met Kirk at this point? Like, I don't think they've even met
Oh,
yet.
This is actually a good point too. I think I kind of noticed this too. That the producer was giving red hair as a nod to Lucy.
Well, not only that, I mean, I was going to note that with her, but she essentially, not only does her hair look like Lucy's hair, but she talks about the fact that she was the one that backed this show, The Last Frontier, being produced, and she would do anything to save it. She thought it was an important show. She was essentially being a surrogate Lucy character at some points with her
right.
dialogue, as many of the characters were having bits and pieces of their character reflecting, Kirk is the most obvious one.
Yep.
But other characters in here were other people. We've got a bit of Jean here. We've got a bit of Lucy here. We've got a bit of, other characters just like popping in places in this story.
Right.
So yes, we meet her. That was Sunny Lupino was the Lucy stand-in, because she was divorced from the person who she was working with, i.e. Desi Lucy thing going on here, but they were both working to, try to come up with a way to save this show. We meet Maxwell Saint, which is Kirk. We meet Adelaide Shaw, which is the first officer. Chappell's playing that part. Lee Woods is Ortegas, the doctor. We get Joni Gloss, the power agent, played by Uhura. And then we have the character that I couldn't pin down to, is this a surrogate for something, which was Anthony McBow, which is Mbenga's character,
Mhm.
who was palling around with Shaw, Chappell's character, and led a collective of artists. And I don't know if that's supposed to represent, it might just be a character. It might not be meant to represent anything else, but I nothing came to mind for me. Did anything come to mind for either of you of who that might be at least vaguely referencing?
I
as far
don't
as-
know. Yeah.
I got nothing on that one.
Okay. Yeah, I've just got a string here, a bunch of observations about this episode, because it just goes,
Oh, wait a
it
minute. Hey,
just
good.
goes wacky.
He was linked from Mod Squad.
He looked like him. He did.
Well,
But
I thought it was interesting if you want to make that connection, because I thought that you had Maxwell Saint being them thinking, okay, Get Smart was around the same time, and so was the Saint, and maybe also kind of a nod to the Man from U.N.C.L.E. as kind of a
Mhm.
character name in there for having Saint.
Yeah. Okay.
But one of the things that I noticed was that I thought this was great. It's like, okay, you've given some of these people who are actors a chance to, who are singers, a chance to sing in this episode. In this episode, Jess Bush gets to use her actual Australian accent,
Yeah.
while Christina Chong has to use an American accent,
Right.
which I thought was great turnaround on that one.
That is pretty funny. That was funny.
And then we have another thing that I noticed was when you have Spock looking at his pad, where he's talking about the relationship of all these characters,
Mhm.
he has essentially made a bulletin board with red string between pictures, because it's pictures of all the characters with these red kind of wavy lines connecting them all together. I'm going, oh, it's a cliche of the bulletin board
Yeah.
with
That's
the
right.
string. Just crazy going on in here. I don't know. I just have a bunch of random observations about this. We can talk about the fact that some of the characters, when they were being interrogated, they were essentially reflecting dialogue that was, I guess, the program reflecting Lon's, what it observed about Lon back at Lon. You have Saint, the Kirk character, saying, "You work closely with people and things happen," and she becomes kind of uncomfortable about that, and he leans in and says, "You two know what I'm talking about." And she's like, "No, I don't know what you mean at all about that." And then Shaw says, "Is it wrong to want love and to be taken seriously in my career?" And you're seeing another kind of thing being thrown back at her. Spock saying they all work together, yet allowed their emotions to jeopardize the very work that they shared. And she's like, let's talk about something else. So essentially the program says, okay, I know you really well, and this is what I think. And to the point where it says, and by the way, we're just going to have Spock in here because he's the person you're going to least suspect of doing this thing. And, you know, she has to come to grips with all this stuff as this episode is playing out. What did you guys think about that kind of aspect of it?
Go ahead, Joe, unless you got some thoughts.
I hadn't really picked up on that, but that's interesting. It's it's definitely, I didn't think of that, but that's pretty interesting. Yeah. I don't know what to say to that. That's the first I thought of that.
We also had a reference here that tied Star Trek VI in with this episode, because you have Spock saying, "My ancestor, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, says the game's afoot."
I know. I saw that. And I was like,
His
ancestor.
Yeah.
And then you go, well, Spock says, he makes the quote that is a Sherlock Holmes quote in Star Trek VI, saying, when you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be true.
Right.
And he says so I don't know. I'm assuming that was, well, we can kind of riff off this because we've got the clearance to do so. What happens in Star Trek VI, or, you know, whether they just wanted to tie those things together. I don't know about that, but
I think it's more of a hint. I don't know, maybe, but yeah.
It's interesting. It was kind of funny, but it's interesting that they chose to make that solid canon, because I always thought that was just a goof in Star Trek VI. Like, that sounds like something a Vulcan would say. So I thought they threw that out there. Like, we know that was from Sherlock Holmes, but, you know, hey, a Vulcan could have said that.
Well, we know that it's in there because Nicholas Meyer is such a huge Sherlock Holmes fan.
Yeah,
it's in there.
Right. True. Yeah.
So let's get away from the holodeck for a minute and get to what's up with Scotty. Scotty says, he's going to be able to balance the power needs of the holodeck with the needs of the Enterprise as it's, you know, trying to do this observations of this neutron star.
Mm-hmm.
And very quickly all his screens are turned into, like, it looks like there's spam on every single one of his screens, because every screen is just this dialogue box saying warning, system
Yeah.
failure, a bunch of code printing out. And even Una comes in and says, wow, that's a lot of, issues going on here.
Yeah, that's right.
And he
No,
insists,
I got it. I got
Yeah.
it.
he insists he can handle all of it. And now at the end of it, he tells the story about, and I kind of got lost in the story. I think I understood the gist of it, but he was saying that he was working on something before the Gorn attacked on the Star Diver. And the captain
Mhm.
said that, I think the captain said that she would check on it and it never happened. So I think that's why he was saying he would rather just get it all done himself. Is that what you were getting out of the story he was telling? I was trying to make sense of that part.
Yeah, that's what I took from it too.
Okay.
Yeah, me as well. He didn't want to rely on other people. He wanted to be able to do it.
And we also find out that even though the Enterprise is bigger than the old one, it's got half as many people on it.
Yeah.
There's only 200 people on the ship that's bigger than the one that held 400 people. So that was an interesting.
It's because they had to make room for the holodeck.
Well, I think also because if you've ever seen, there's a video that says it's no surprise that you walk around the decks of the Enterprise D and you barely run into anybody else because the ship is so big
Yeah.
with the amount of people on it that you just would rarely see anybody else. And this way, if you have a bigger ship and less people, you don't always see a lot of people walking around. I didn't know what to make of the scene where we go to sick bay. And so Una goes in there and she's checking with Mbenga about stuff. And it's, this reading here and these fluctuations and so forth. And clearly he's concerned about stuff in sick bay. About, of course, we don't see Batel in sick bay anyplace, but he's concerned about that stuff. And we see Gamble. Is it Ensign Gamble? I think it's an Ensign.
He's listed as Ensign Gamble.
Okay, so Ensign Gamble comes over, has a line. So it just seemed like we need a shot here to set up the next scene, and nothing really other than there's a power drain, which we've already established is going to happen, but let's use the sick bay to do it again.
I think it was more like we paid this actor, so we got to make it. He's got to have an appearance.
I don't know. I just didn't know exactly what to make of that scene. It just felt like it was there to be there.
Mm-hmm.
We got to stretch a little bit in this thing. Uhura figures out again how to get the communications in to the holodeck because it's not allowing the program to end. It's gone awry, and the safety protocols have been disengaged.
Right.
Big surprise. So she has.
It's always convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, she has a way to get Scotty in there. He appears as if he's a hologram in the program to send a message.
Took me a second. He was in a shirt, like a regular shirt and stuff, and he came really close.
He looked like a 12-year-old.
He did. Yes.
And he's shining a flashlight in his face, like, why? I guess to make sure she can recognize who he is.
Yeah.
But I thought there was a clever way to get him in there, to give the reveal as to what the problem was.
Yeah.
And then the Enterprise does run into problems because Scotty doesn't have things handled and has to. He says, I can manually reroute power to you in small increments. So it gives him 30 seconds worth of maneuverability.
Yeah. He's doing it in cycles.
Yeah.
He's doing it in, cycles.
And Ortega says, I'll work with what I got, essentially, and makes the thing happen because she's put back on active duty because once again, Una thinks that she's ready. And the last time she thought she was ready, things didn't work out so well.
Yeah.
So that seemed a little weird as well. And, I'm thinking Mitchell's going, hey, what am I, chopped liver? I'm right here.
Yeah. It was almost like they had this episode planned for maybe another area in the season instead of this one, and just dropped it in.
It could very well be. It could very
Mhm.
well be. That was one of my thoughts. Is like, oh, we need to explain why she's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know what else people. I've just again, I get lots and lots and lots of random notes. Another one of my random notes is since Majel was playing number one
Mm-hmm.
in this thing, she has essentially played both of Majel's characters from TOS now.
I guess so. Yep.
So it's a weird little fun fact you can throw in when you want to.
Oh my God! Hey, by the way, when Rebecca Romaine had that wig on and everything, for a minute I almost didn't recognize her. I was like, "Whoa, she looks so much different."
Well,
with
let's
the-
also talk about the fact that in her regular hair looked a little extra big
Yeah,
this week.
big.
Yeah,
As
not
opposed to last week when everybody had short hair, so they didn't have to show them floating around with
well.
long hair.
Yeah, that's a different story. But it just looked weird. And this is not the season where next season is the season where she was actually filming Strange New Worlds and the new Avengers movie at the same time. So she was bouncing back and forth between Toronto and England. I forget where in England. I guess the Pinewood Studios there
Pinewood,
to be
yeah.
filming her Mystique scene. So
Yes.
I couldn't figure out. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at other episodes, but it just seemed really weird. Her regular hair. So I don't know whether it's tied into the wig and they had to do something with her regular hair. And
Yeah,
to-
may have been my wig. Yeah.
I don't know what was going on.
That
What
was-
else? You guys have got stuff here, I'm sure.
I don't know if we want to jump the gun and go right to the end here, but
Sure.
how do you guys feel about the new dynamic between Spock and Lon?
Didn't need it. Didn't need it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
actually, I saw that coming last time. The last time we talked about episodes, I forget the first one,
The wedding
Second
episode
one?
of the train.
where they were dancing.
Yeah.
They were dancing. I had that feeling like, okay, they're gonna make a connection here, and then of course they kind of did today.
Yeah, I felt like if they had stayed friends, right? Kind of at that level of being close friends, that Spock would have someone other than, Pike
Mhm.
or Chapel. I guess in this case, he might not feel comfortable going to Chapel with stuff that he needs figured out. That would be great for Lon to do that. But I just felt like, okay, he already has a disastrous relationship with, T'Pol. He now had a failed relationship with Christine. Now we're going to go through that again immediately.
It came out of nowhere. I mean, they obviously 2 episodes ago they started setting it up, but still, it's like Chakotay and Seven. It came out of nowhere, and like you said didn't need it. I mean, the Christine and Spock thing was interesting because throughout the original series we saw her pursuing him. So it's like, oh,
Right.
now we have this little thing. Oh, look at that. They were actually a thing at one point. And so it kind of gives it a little more, makes it a little more interesting. But we know that they have to somehow dovetail it back to T'Pring because he is engaged to T'Pring. And
It's a bring. I think it's
like-
T'Pol. Sorry.
it's
Hey.
like, why are we doing this?
Hey, I remember. I was just thinking, it kind of makes things a little more awkward in the Wrath of Khan. He's like, "Woo, I dated his daughter." Spock.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and blow him
Well,
up, Kirk.
His great granddaughter on his. I was on his
Yeah,
mother's
whatever.
side though. On his mother's side.
There was
Yeah,
a
whatever.
meme last year from like a scene from the Wrath of Khan where like Khan says like, you still remember me, Admiral. I of course remember you. And Kirk says, of course I remember you. I performed in a musical with your granddaughter. And Khan goes,
Yeah.
what? He says nothing.
Yeah,
Not
I kept saying
important.
daughter,
Never mind.
granddaughter.
Not important.
That's right. Oh, by the way, one other little note. I mentioned earlier, I was talking about Star Trek Continues. It's what I was thinking of, not Star Trek.
Mhm.
New Voyages, although both of them are fantastic fan productions. But Star Trek Continues has James Cawley in it, and James Cawley is a Elvis impersonator.
Yes.
So when you see Kirk in here with the little bit of hair coming down, and he's got the big collars, that's what I was thinking of. When look
Right,
like
and he's got the lighter build, just like Paul Wesley does as well.
yes, he does. Yeah, you've seen those, haven't you, Joe?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
For a while there, they were the only new Star Trek we were getting. You know, like back in the,
Mm-hmm.
you know, back when I was doing Jesus, slice of sci-fi back in those days.
Yeah.
That was the closest thing we had to new Star Trek.
I love Star Trek Continues, and Star Trek New Voyages was just as good, but I like the other one better a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they were pulling from the original series, like storylines and stuff as well, and unproduced scripts and so forth. It was really like that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We had another thing, by the way, that got thrown back at Lon, as when I was talking about all those other things that were thrown back at her. And I don't know if you guys picked up on this one either, but during we'll call it a Uhura speech, the producer's speech, where she's talking about the worst thing that Tony ever did was cancel the show.
Yeah.
And she goes on to explain why that it was important. It meant something. And she went on to explain why it was going to be important, why it would have been important, what it would have done. Right. So she's basically giving the story of Star Trek about its meaning for, you know, being seen, having a vision of a bright future and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Then at the very end of that, she turns it and says that, let's see, did I keep it in there as the note? Essentially, she says, you know, because Lon says, well, could you really do that with a TV show? She says, haven't you ever been inspired by, you know, imagine like these nerds being inspired by the show or a piece of art or something.
Yes.
To go out and explore, to base her entire life around it. And she's realizing that this is exactly what she did with her detective character.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Right. She had, because that's when she's realizing what she says. Well, of course I realize that, because she's realizing this is exactly what I did and why that's important. So I thought that was a great way to tie in the Star Trek message.
Yeah.
With the story itself. So I thought that was well played to do that.
Yeah. And it was very meta episode, because you start, even though they weren't by name, but you kind of get Lucy and that whole thing pulled into this episode. You know,
absolutely.
Like, what was the what was I thinking of just a moment ago? It was like, so little off topic a little bit. I went to see the Fantastic Four, and this is not a spoiler or anything for that movie, but as part of it, Galactus shows up. Everybody in the city's looking out their windows, and then there's two guys looking out the windows, and they show the interior of the office as they're looking out the window, and you can tell it says Timely Comics, and it's actually Stan Lee and Jack Kirby looking out the window at Galactus, which of course they created all that. So I just thought that was really cool how they pulled that meta in there and folded it in just kind of like this a little bit.
And I believe that either Akiva or Alonso said that Shatner has seen this episode.
I bet he was like, oh, great. No.
Well, he knows Paul Wesley, and Paul Wesley probably even talked about it before he did it. Go, look, I'm going to do this thing, and hopefully you're not going to, you know, don't be upset about it because it's supposed to be this thing that's supposed to be this other thing. And
yeah, Paul Wesley did the article I was talking about earlier. Paul Wesley said that he had met William Shatner, and William Shatner congratulated him on getting the part of Kirk, and they talked about it. And he said, I wasn't trying to emulate Kirk or impersonate him. And then you watch this episode and it's like, well, that's exactly what he's doing right this minute.
All right,
not
so
always though, but yeah.
So what are we going to rate this on? We can rate it on USS Adventures. We can rate it on Iconians.
Arconians.
Okay. Did I get the right name there? These aliens, Igonians. Okay, so we go reverse order. I'm going to give this one because apparently there was subtext in here that I was picking up on that might not be as blatant as I thought it was. So I thought, well played, writers. And another favorite line of mine is, "I'm a writer. We're never happy about anything."
Yeah. Right.
So true. It's so true. So I'm going to give this one. Got a couple of things I've got to ding it on for, like why the characters are who they are being portrayed by, but I'm going to give this a solid 8.5. I think on this one.
Yeah.
I just liked a lot of aspects of it. I thought that once you got past some of the setup, and I even like the fact of why Scotty was so overwhelmed, because at a certain point I'm going, dude, you got someone in command going, everything okay? Should I bring Spock in? And you'd be like, and you're going to turn it down. What is up with that? So to have an explanation of that plus other things that Scotty's been doing, I thought, okay, even that got paid off at least a bit.
Right.
All right, so we're going backwards. I believe we go with Joe next, right?
Yeah, I'll give this a 7.5. I really loved the opening and the closing with the Last Frontier series. That was fantastic. There's a lot of great moments in this. I think one thing that I got to ask is if you're going to bring in the holodeck, and arguments can be made that, this is, arguments can be made for and against. People could say, canonically, it shouldn't be there till Next Generation. But you can go, but the animated series. So you could kind of go either way on that. But if you're going to do it, why are we doing a detective story again? It seems like we've already had Dixon Hill. We've had Sherlock Holmes. It's like, can't we have them, if they could do anything in the holodeck, can't we do something we haven't seen before? So that kind of bugged me, but otherwise it's a solid episode.
Hey Joe, speaking of which, I was thinking, okay, this is the beginning of the holodeck era for Star Trek, and then I was thinking about parallels to today. When we have AI, they should have had some characters with like 5 or 6 fingers, or where the holodeck didn't represent everything.
That's right. That's right.
That would be funny. That would be really funny. And the words on the wall are like scrambled up, like the letters on it. Right?
Listen, Diane says her favorite line was, I'm an actor, not a doctor.
Yeah,
right?
that was a good one. That was a good one.
Alrighty, and you, sir.
In some ways, especially with the vintage stuff, I kept thinking of the Adventures of Captain Proton a little bit, which was good. Which is great, and that's what it should have been. I think it was pretty good. I like the idea. Well, let me back up. I wasn't totally sold on. Yeah, I wasn't totally sold on Spock being the murderer or the antagonist in the murder mystery thing. But other than that,
he put the done it in the who done it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll give this a solid 8.5 too, because I think it was well done. And even though probably a little early for some good holodeck stories in the timeline, but I'm down with it. I liked it.
You're on mute, Clinton.
You just muted yourself, Clinton.
I just muted myself. I thought I was unmuting myself, and I muted myself.
Hey, it's the best kind of Clinton.
Hey, I resemble that remark. All right, well, it's time to refill the dilithium chamber and to warp on out of here. I'm going to flip the order of what we got here for the bullet points. I'm going to have Joe go first for tell us about where we can find you and anything you want to promote here.
Oh, well, you can find me over at Crazy Joe's Concession Stand here on YouTube. I also have another channel, Crazy Joe Adventures, but I don't update it that much. But you can find me all the time at Crazy Joe's Concession Stand. A name, by the way, that name was Craig came up with that. That's Craig's name. So, so there you go. but yeah, I do movie reviews, a lot of physical media reviews. And real quick before we go, I do want to show
Oh, yes.
San Diego Comic-Con.
Let me
My
put this
friend
up here.
my friend Raya picked me up the Star Trek
Oh.
Picard USS Enterprise. It was the con exclusive Hallmark ornament
So what
That's
made it
awesome.
exclusive to what made it exclusive to Comic-Con about the Hallmark ornament?
because the hull says USS Enterprise NCC 1701G. This same ornament is going to be in stores everywhere in October, but with the serial number and name of the Titan.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what made it the exclusive is that this is the Enterprise version. They probably should have flipped that. They should probably made the Enterprise available to everybody. And
Yeah.
have the Titan be the Comic-Con exclusive. But
I agree because my whole display of Enterprises over here of Hallmark things, I can't put that there now. It doesn't have the right name. What am I going to do?
Now you got a big G hole in your lineup.
Don't think we want to be going there and doing those things. Let's move on to the. You can find me, Clinton, at
Right.
Comedy Forecast. That's all one word with the number 4. I'm going to be doing something starting tomorrow for a month, but I'm going to let Craig talk about that. But you can find my episodes at comedyforecast.com or as part of what I'll have Craig mention as well as the show that he's part of.
Yeah. So starting tomorrow, as we're recording this, probably by the time you download this on August 1st, we are starting the Dog Days of Podcasting for 2025. I think there was like 10 people signed up already, maybe 11. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll start recording my stuff tomorrow. And we record a show every day for the month of August up until, the end of August. When traditionally it was when we were at Dragon Con, which Clinton and I will be at Dragon Con. So you can catch our live show if you're there. You're welcome to show up. But we will, everybody's going to be recording. There's going to be a lot of podcasts produced. And I'm kind of, I've always said the challenge isn't just recording one a day. It's challenge is listening to them all.
Right.
because there's so
That
many.
becomes that becomes the Dog Days challenge. Listen to everybody's shows.
That's right. Or you can find Chuck and I. Chuck is on a way mission today, but you can find us at Technorama Podcast. Just go search for Technorama Podcast and you'll find us.
All right. Excellent. Well, we don't have the theme music, so it seems inappropriate for me to say so, but I'll do it anyway. Yeah, all right. It's time to hit the theme, boys. If you like the show, please be sure to tell a friend about it and subscribe so you never miss an episode. My voice is about to go. We'd love to hear from you. Follow us on Blue Sky at The Topic is Trek. Visit our Facebook page or call us at 816-TREKKER. That's 816-873-5537. Until next time, on behalf of Crazy Joe, Craig, and myself, I'm Clinton, thanking you for listening. And as we always say here on The Topic is Trek, don't
put
put on
the red shirt.
Shirt.
It's like a bad echo.
Go green if you got it.
Is that ecology or is that just to save yourself? I'm not sure.
Right. All
And
right.
we are out. Thank you, people, for being with us live. We hope you enjoyed the show. We are going to power down and we will catch you the next time for 2 more episodes of Strange New Worlds as we make our way through this new season.
Yep. We got 4 more episodes, right?
We've got 6
No.
more episodes.
I'm sorry, 6 more episodes.
Math is hard. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
All
a
right.
product of the public school system.
Bye-bye,
Sorry.
everybody.
Bye.